So here we have another Ben Shalom fighter pulling out of a purse bid for a title fight. Last time it was Frazer Clarke pulling out of a British title fight with Fabio Wardley, and this time it's Richard Riakporhe pulling out of a world title fight with Jay Opetaia. Here is a statement from Richard Riakporhe. He said, "I have worked extremely hard the past 2 years to get myself to the top of the cruiserweight division. We had accepted an offer to fight for the IBF title on 2 occasions in 2 different locations. For reasons unclear to me and to my promoter, these offers were then withdrawn. During these negotiations, I've missed out on other opportunities, which has left me inactive. It is clear other parties were simply trying to disrupt my journey, which I won't let happen. I have sacrificed a lot to be in a mandatory position with 2 governing bodies and have worked towards world titles my whole career. I would like to thank the IBF for their support, and I look forward to fighting for their prestigious title one day. However, I have chosen to go a different route and will be sharing news of another world title opportunity very soon. I will become world champion and I will unify the division." Now, if we have a look at the cruiserweight rankings here across all 4 sanctioned bodies, you will see that Richard Riakporhe is now rated at number 2 by the IBF. That's where he was mandatory for Jay Opetaia. And he's ranked number 1 by the WBO. And look who the WBO champion is, Chris Billam-Smith, who is also a Ben Shalom fighter. Now, there have been some talk of Billam-Smith rematching Lawrence Okolie. That Okolie had triggered the rematch clause. I'm not sure if that's still going ahead. If Riakporhe is actually mandatory for Billam-Smith, then I don't really have an issue with him turning down the Opetaia fight and taking the Billam-Smith fight instead. At the end of the day, the deal's going to be pretty much the same. When you are a mandatory challenger, your purse split is dictated by the sanctioning body if it goes to a purse bid. It's not dictated by any of the promoters. Additionally, as a mandatory challenger, if you beat the champion, you don't have to rematch him. You can sail off into the sunset. Now, you can choose to waive that right, maybe for some extra percentage, some extra money, but you don't have to. So again, if he's turned down the Opetaia fight because he's mandatory elsewhere, and the fight's in the UK against a fellow Brit rather than in Australia, where the judges might not be on his side, I get it. But if he isn't mandatory for Chris Billam-Smith, and Billam-Smith maybe takes him on as a voluntary, that I do have a problem with, because a mandatory opportunity is usually a better deal than a voluntary opportunity, for reasons I've just outlined. In which case, Riakporhe would have turned down a better opportunity. Why? Because of pressure from his promoter or his broadcaster, because they didn't want to lose a purse bid to Matchroom, who Jay Opetaia just signed with. These are questions, people. Whatever the case may be, I know this news is not going to go down well with you guys, the boxing public, in light of what happened in the Frazer Clarke-Fabio Wardley situation, where ostensibly Frazer Clarke wanted that Fabio Wardley fight. His management team, 258, lobbied the British Boxing Board of Control to make Clarke the mandatory for Wardley and to enact a purse bid. But then Ben Shalom and perhaps Sky either persuaded Frazer Clarke to pull out of the purse bid, or Ben Shalom had some type of provision in his contract with Frazer Clarke whereby he could pull him out of fights against his will. And this is the man in Ben Shalom who just a couple weeks earlier, maybe a couple days earlier, was saying that he'd never deny a fighter an opportunity. And he's all about the fans and all about the fighters. So, I'll give you guys the floor. What do you think about this situation here with Richard Riakporhe pulling out of the Jay Opetaia fight? And he alluded there to several deals that were presented by Opetaia's team to him during the negotiation process, but those deals were then withdrawn and it went to a purse bid. The inference being that Matchroom made them do that. And Riakporhe in his statement made out as though Matchroom, and he didn't name them, but it must be who he's talking about, were trying to derail his career somehow. Opetaia previously was with some small promotional outfit. They didn't have the kind of money that Matchroom have got. What kind of offer could they possibly have made you? With Matchroom's involvement and the fight going to a purse bid, you stand to make way more than you would have made prior to Matchroom being involved. Your split is guaranteed by the IBF. It's not dictated by Matchroom. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.